This is Bomb First TV. I'm Snake Eyes, your favorite blogger, and we're gonna get right into it today. Chicago teen was still alive when paramedics covered him with a white sheet. His father wants answers, and the person we're talking about is Erin Carey, and his father's name is Eric Carey. Let's get right into it, y'all. The father of a Chicago teen who was shot early this week had a news conference Wednesday saying he wanted to know why emergency service workers had covered his son with a sheet even though he was still alive. Now that is crazy. If he's still alive, if it's any hint of life, if somebody said, hey, he's alive, why would you still have him covered with a white sheet? Let's keep going. That's one of the several questions that Eric Carey, the father of teenager Erin Carey, who was 17, has about his son's death, he told reporters. You don't throw a sheet over a head and walk to the next person, Mr. Carey said. Did you check and see if he even had a pulse? He asked at times, tearful and seated next to a lawyer. I need to know, why did my son get shot, he said. The Chicago Fire Department, which oversees emergency services, has said it is investigating not only why Aaron was covered with a white sheet while he was still breathing, check it, still breathing, but also why it took 40 minutes to transport him to the hospital. I don't know what's going on with the fire department there in Chicago, or why, if he was still breathing, they would still cover him with a white sheet. To me, and it just to me, your boy Snake Eye, it sounded like they didn't care. They didn't care. They see so many homicides, so many victims in Chicago. I mean, it's like they numb to it. They don't. They knew he was in critical condition, but they felt like he was gonna die within minutes, obviously, and they just didn't care. Let's keep going. Aaron, who had recently graduated from Evanston Township High School, was shot in the head on Chicago's west side at about 5 a.m. Monday. He was one of four people wounded, two fatally during a conflict between two groups of people, the police said. Once paramedics were alerted, the teenager was still moving. The police said he was transported to Stroger Hospital where he died on Tuesday. In an interview on Wednesday, Larry Langford, director of media affairs at the fire department, said paramedics determined because of the severity of his gunshot wounds to Aaron's head that others who had been wounded would be transported first. Still, he questioned why it took 40 minutes, he said. Paramedics performed CPR on Aaron. He could not explain why the sheet was placed over the teenager. We don't know the mindset, Mr. Langford said. We don't know why the sheet was put there. A white sheet is usually used if a person is deceased. We all know that. Once you're deceased, they cover you up. They put the white sheet on you. I mean, it is crazy to even think if he was had a chance, a fighting chance of living, because you don't know how a person can turn out. We have seen many times that you thought, oh man, ain't no way they gonna make it, and they make it and still live a productive life. Evan was one of two people killed after families gathered on Sunday night for Father's Day festivities near Addams-Medill Park in the University Village neighborhood, according to the police. There was a conflict between two groups that resulted in gunfire, a spokesman for the police department said in an interview on Wednesday. One of the guns used was a MAC 10 assault weapon, he said, at a news conference on Monday. The police detailed what happened over the weekend. There were 36 shootings with 8 fatalities, 6 of them from gun violence, the police said. Like I said, Chirac is not playing. It's very hot there during the summer. They have lost a lot of people just over the last month, which is very crazy. Mubu Crump, Zach TV, Erin Carey. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Can't get right. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. Mr. Lanford said investigators would be reviewing police and fire radio traffic, calls to 911, and ambulance activity. The shooting happened within a 2 to 3 block radius. The other person who was fatally shot was Shanlonza McToy. She was 22. Marcus Campbell, the principal at Evanston Township High School, got a call on Monday from Pastor Charlie Dates, who was with Carey's family at the hospital. Mr. Campbell went to the hospital too and spent an hour and a half with the family. School officials posted the news of his death on the high school's website, saying that they were deeply saddened and extended their heartfelt sympathy to Erin's family and friends, our students and staff. Pastor Dates of Progressive Baptist Church said Erin grew up at our church. He was in the youth ministry. He interned for 3 summers at our senior living facility. He talked about going to college. He also added, these things happen all too frequently. These are some teenagers I see where I see this is coming. He was an unlikely kid to be engaged in something like this. That's another thing. As parents, we don't know when our child is not with us 24/7. We don't know uh, the extent of the friends they're hanging around or what they're doing when they're hanging around friends. As y'all all know, kids can act one way in the presence of their parents and people that they want to impress, and another way when they just with their friends. So it's kind of hard to tell. He might have been a very good kid, and doing the right things when his parents or anybody that knew his parent was around. But he could have been another person and influenced by his friends to do things that wasn't, let's say, kosher. But I'm just saying, my heart goes out to the family. And I just hate to see all this violence erupting, especially out of Chicago. I mean, they're losing people every day, it seems like, the gun violence, gang violence, or whatever you may call it. But this just the story of a teenager that was not dead and was covered up with a white sheet, and they're gonna definitely have to explain that, because that makes no sense to do that. I mean, if he wasn't dead, he should never been covered up over that white sheet. And why did it take so long for them to understand that he wasn't dead and move on to the next people, even though his injuries may seem to you like it's over with? Yeah, obviously, if he's moving, he still got a fighting chance. But I mean, in them very crucial minutes, you have to administer first aid and extensive care, get him to the hospital as soon as possible. As just like you was moving to the next person, you should have had him in there first. His injury was the worst. If you had a sign of a living, you should have got him in there first. Y'all leave a comment below and let me know what you think about this situation. I mean, Erin Carey, 17, was covered up by a white sheet by paramedics. Thought he was dead. He was not dead. It took 40 minutes to transport him to the hospital, mainly due because they was tending to other people. What do y'all think about that? Drop a comment below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel so we can grow this channel, y'all. If you have any questions for your boy Snake Eyes, leave a comment. This your boy Snake Eye. This Bond First TV, your favorite blogger's blogger, and let's get it. I'm out.